President Donald Trump recently reiterated a pledge on his Truth Social platform to impose a sweeping 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. The announcement represents a significant escalation of his protectionist trade stance, targeting cultural and intellectual property, IP, rather than traditional manufactured goods. Trump justified the aggressive measure by asserting that the U.S. movie-making business has been stolen by foreign countries, damaging American jobs, a claim he linked to the leadership of California's Democratic governor. Furthermore, he explicitly framed the issue as a national security threat, alleging that foreign productions amount to messaging and propaganda. This threat echoes a similar proposal made earlier in the year, signaling a consistent focus on leveraging punitive duties to reshape the global distribution of content and manufacturing. Policy rationale and analytical challenges. The primary reason for the proposed 100% tariff is to force Hollywood studios to bring film and television production back to the United States, thereby reviving domestic jobs lost to countries offering robust tax incentives and lower labor costs. It is fundamentally a localization effort intended to protect the U.S. film industry, a sector that supports millions of jobs and generates hundreds of billions in sales. However, the proposal faces immense analytical and practical challenges. Traditional tariffs apply to tangible goods at the port of entry, customs duties. Film, however, is intellectual property, a service sector export where the U.S. is typically a net exporter. Experts have questioned the mechanism of implementation. Will the tariff be levied on the film's production budget, its distribution rights, or ticket sales? Furthermore, the definition of foreign made is highly complex in the age of globalized production. Most major Hollywood films are international co-productions, often utilizing location shooting, post-production, or visual effects work done across multiple countries. E.g., a film set in California might be shot in Australia or Canada. A blanket 100% duty would be extremely difficult to apply consistently without penalizing American-backed projects. Potential consequences for the global film market. The consequences of implementing such a steep tariff could be severe and counterproductive for the U.S. film industry. 1. Production stagnation and cost increase. A 100% tariff could effectively double the cost of acquiring and distributing any film with significant overseas production elements. This would apply not just to foreign language films, but potentially to blockbusters filmed abroad for budgetary or creative reasons. As industry insiders noted, this would kill the U.S. industry quicker by increasing costs and bringing global production to a standstill. 2. Harm to cultural exchange. The tariff would make the import of smaller, independent, and arthouse foreign films prohibitively expensive for American distributors. This would significantly reduce cultural diversity in the U.S. cinema market and harm foreign production companies that rely on U.S. distribution revenue. 3. Foreign retaliation. Trade policy is rarely unilateral. Foreign nations, particularly those with strong domestic film industries, like the UK, Canada, Australia, and various European countries, would likely retaliate with their own tariffs or by severely restricting the quota of U.S. films allowed into their markets, as China has done during previous trade conflicts. Since the U.S. film industry thrives on its export market, retaliation could devastate Hollywood's international sales revenue. 4. Uncertainty for streamers. The role of global streaming services is ambiguous. Would international series, like the Korean-made Squid Game, which are produced locally but streamed globally by US-based companies, be subject to this tariff? The lack of clarity injects significant financial uncertainty into a recovering entertainment market already reeling from recent labor strikes and industry recession. Prediction and constructive solutions. Prediction. It is highly improbable that a 100% tariff, levied as a traditional customs duty on films as intellectual property, would be successfully implemented in its announced form. Legal, logistical, and international trade hurdles are too significant. Instead, the threat likely serves two purposes: as political leverage to pressure state governments, like California's, to offer better film incentives, and as a strong signal to the industry regarding the administration's preference for domestic production. If the administration pursues this goal, the policy is more likely to evolve into a targeted production tax or a domestic content mandate rather than a blanket tariff. Solutions. Industry experts widely agree that punitive tariffs are the wrong tool for this problem. A more constructive approach to increasing domestic filming would involve implementing positive incentives rather than deterrents. These solutions include 5. Federal tax incentives, establishing robust, long-term federal tax credits that rival those offered by states and foreign competitors. This provides a stable, predictable reason for productions to stay or return. 6. Co-production treaties. Negotiating clear, beneficial co-production treaties with major filmmaking nations. These treaties often define a film's nationality and ensure mutual distribution benefits, encouraging global collaboration that still benefits American jobs and IP ownership without resorting to punitive duties. 7. Infrastructure subsidies. Investing directly in domestic film infrastructure, studios, and crew training programs to ensure the U.S. remains the most attractive place to film, economically and logistically. These market-friendly, collaborative approaches are viewed as far more effective at achieving the goal of domestic job growth than an economically disruptive, culturally limiting 100% tariff.